Kevin Smith is sharing his frightening story after having a heart attack this week. It happened right after his stand-up show last Sunday night. This week, he took to Facebook and shared his emotional story about what went through his mind when he thought he might die.
I just thought about everything and thought about, like, you know, my parents and how they raised me and my brother and my sister and my friends and my wife and my kid and my, like, this weird, wonderful career that I've had for so long and stuff. And I was, like, content. Like, it was weird. I don't know how to say it. I didn't want to die, don't get me wrong. But I was like, well, if the ferryman comes tonight, I got to pay him.
And, you know, he's also shedding new light on heart disease and how dangerous it can be. I want to bring in Dr. Jen Caudle. She joins me now with more on this. Dr. Caudle, good to have you. Kevin apparently had something called a Widowmaker heart attack. It's the same thing Rosie O'Donnell said she had a few years ago. What exactly is that, and what makes it so potentially dangerous?
Right. Well, we think of the Widowmaker as a very potentially dangerous type of a heart attack. The Widowmaker is really another name for the artery called the left anterior descending artery. That's a coronary artery, an artery that supplies oxygen-rich blood to the heart. But the thing about this particular artery is that it supplies a large part of the heart with oxygen and blood. So if this artery gets blocked, which is usually what happens in a heart attack, the consequences really can be quite serious, often even deadly. That's why we call it the Widowmaker.
And, you know, he had mentioned his family. He has some family history when it comes to heart disease. His father had a heart attack. Should he have noticed some symptoms ahead of this?
You know, not necessarily. To be honest with you, not everyone has symptoms of chest pains or things like that before they actually have their heart attack. But you bring up a really important point, which is family history. There are what we call risk factors for heart disease or heart attacks, and a family history is a big one. So if you have relatives, fathers, mothers, etc., with heart attacks, that is sort of a wake-up call for us, as well as things like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, etc. So that's important.
And, you know, in this case, I was surprised to learn that Kevin actually has lost 85 pounds recently. And you would think if you make these lifestyle changes, losing weight, quitting smoking, that the heart could rebuild itself. Was that not the case here?
Well, trust me, losing weight is one of the most important things that most of us can do, because we know that obesity and physical inactivity is also a risk factor for heart disease. But remember, there's a whole constellation of potential symptoms that could be playing a role here. His family history and any other, lab abnormalities or things like that that he or someone else might have. So it's usually a whole group of symptoms. It's not usually just one thing. But don't get me wrong, losing weight is really important, as well as quitting smoking.
Such great advice, Dr. Caudle. So good to have you.
Thank you.